All right, to coin John Fitzgerald Kennedy, former president of the United States, our problems are man-made and can be solved by man, and we can become great. And that's exactly what the UTME tried to do by solving the problem with the registration process where millions of Nigerians try to get access to higher education across the several universities and polytechnics across this country. But then it went about it the wrong way, and then instead to have complaints and all of that, exactly what happened in the aftermath. They decided to solve the problem by getting on board Remitter, but of course the damage has been done already. They're probably going to have to extend the date and all of that. But we're going to talk about systems and processes here. How on earth did we get to this level? Tosin Sanu is a youth activist. It's a pleasure to have him join us this morning. Together with him is Idowu Akinde. Thank you very much, sir. He's an IT consultant. Thank you, sir, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right, I would say a very curious situation here. Let me start from you, Mr. Akinde. What we see is a massive problem in the IT system in Nigeria at this time with JAMB. Students are unable to register and all of that, and the banks and JAMB seem to have been trading blame as to what the problem is. Now, should this really be an issue to deal with? I don't know much about IT, but I know this much. Facebook has millions of users. Yahoo Mail has grown over the years to accommodate new users, and each time we get these mails that update. So why are we at this point in 2017?
Well, to be fair, this is not where, to be honest, this is not where we should be. Okay, but the prevalent issues that have been experienced by the customers, I like to call them the customers of JAMB, the candidates, point to architectural deficiencies. So it looks like there are gaps in the blocks upon which this system, the foundation upon which this system has been built. So, you would expect that a system that would operate via a real-time network interface over the public internet from many centers across the country to one central server will require a strong internet presence. Even if there's no strong internet presence, you would expect that this body, aka JAMB, would probably have created a private network with strong network connections with all of those guys. There's VPN technology that can be used to achieve that. All of that's on one side. On another side, there's still the issue of widespread computer literacy. So they spoke about doing a mock test, in a few days, a few weeks before the live exam. But I wonder if a mock test will train a complete computer novice on basic computer use as well as the navigation of the JAMB examination application itself. So I see signs of architectural lapses, foundational lapses, things like network architecture, which I spoke about earlier, hardware, which we need to look deeply to ascertain, and software architecture. If perhaps it won't cost JAMB too much, we don't know what their internal mechanics will be in terms of what they've committed to, how they're going to print the papers, how they're going to print, how they're going to get all of the logistics in place. If the National Assembly is successful in mandating them to extend this, it will be advisable to get in a team of experts to come in and do a quick review and look for some. Of course, it's too late to do a long-term solution fix. So look for bandages, look for short-term fixes.
Yes, which is we could come up quickly to say exactly why they tried to do, for example, the registration process. So they went to the banks or NIPOs for them to buy the
approved payment points.
Approved payment point, pick up the PIN and all that, which is different from the cyber cafes people used to go in the past. And took that back to JAMB office again, and some people line up as early as 3 a.m., 4 a.m. The entire day and still not able to go through the process. So now they brought Remitter into the entire thing so that people can sit down in the comfort of their homes and send this. What a lot of people are asking, why on earth did they have to go through the first process, knowing that this was, if you're doing troubleshooting towards a problem, this was obviously going to be the end result of that system, and then go back to Remitter now to say, okay, this is what we're going to do?
I'll be a doctor now. Let's apply some tough.
They always troubleshoot.
It points to a lack of technical depth in making the technical decisions for a large-scale system like this. Put it simply, that's just what it comes to.
All right, let me come to you now with this question and get you involved with this conversation, Mr. Sanusi. And it's the issue of, he says, what he calls, architectural issues, structural issues with the systems, and it talks about capacity. Let me take the same question to you. What do you see? And then, even if we doubted in any way that there was such a capacity to deal with the problems that we see, the founder of Facebook's visit to Nigeria, of course, pointed out to the fact that he saw something. There are young guys, brilliant minds in Nigeria with IT that, of course, he smelt all the way far from the shores of Nigeria to come down to interface and interact with them. What do you see with those problems, and what do you think about the capacity to deal with all of the problems that we are seeing with JAMB?
Thank you very much. I see, well, the problem here is that I can say JAMB did not really plan for this CBT training and all of that, because we have internet issues in Nigeria, everybody knows. We can't compare Facebook. When you talk about Mark Zuckerberg, I think he planned ahead before he implemented that. He called it a name first before it called Facebook. Which I can say here is that they need to sit back, restructure the whole thing, and get some young, innovative guys, IT guys, involved in this.
Let's come to you. You mentioned a few things about the internet service in Nigeria and how it's operating real time. You're talking about the characteristics of it. Let's talk about internet connection here. Now, knowing that there's even an alternative, the fact that people in the rural areas are not even open to what we in the urban areas are open to, where does this leave the planning? Now, JAMB has refused to extend the time for registration, saying that these lapses can be fixed and all of that. And to their credit, in their defense, they're saying, okay, we increase the number of banks from 3 banks to 15 banks. Is that adequate? Is that enough excuse to go by?
Well, it doesn't give me much confidence. Okay, going back to the network architecture questions that you raised. I mean, we all live in Nigeria, and we know that the quality of internet services that we experience in terms of quality of connection, bandwidth, and quality and speed hasn't exactly matured. Of course, we are better.
Why?
Well, I think probably because investments are hard to justify.
Investments in that sector?
Well, yes, I think so. Because we are not, first of all, if you think about the fact that we are not where we were 5 years ago, network-wise, things are slightly better.
Slightly.
They are better probably only because there's been increased investment. People have been laying fiber cables, subsea cables, so there's a higher quality to the end user, yourself and myself. To raise the quality to a higher level, we need to get more of those services and/or increase the capacity of those ones. That's more dollars. That's more millions of dollars. So that's FDI. This is where the large macroeconomic policies that people talk about, every day come to bear on the technology sector. So knowing that these are the challenges that we face in our home country, that we know that we face every day, I wouldn't have had confidence if I were chief architect of this system to base this thing 100% solely on such network that I use every day for other
what
things.
would you have done?
Let me just put it like
this
that.
One, yes.
Sorry.
What would you have done? How would you have planned it out?
Okay. It will probably be a bit forward to propose too much because I don't have too much information about the details.
But as much as
because I don't work, at JAMB. However, with the information that is available, I probably, first of all, wouldn't go nationwide just yet. I'll probably start with a pilot. a pilot does many things, and this is an offshoot from the agile methodology that I am a strong believer and practitioner in. You start small, learn your lessons on a small scale, and fail on a small scale, and learn lessons from that small scale.
And build from there.
And build from there. So if we had chosen Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt as pilots for the... I know that the logistics may be different, and there may be questions around if some people do a CBT and some people do a paper test, how can you be assured of the quality? But you can explain your vision, your long-term 5-year vision to people, and they can understand that you can't go nationwide yet because the infrastructure is not in place. If you can demonstrate that you can do this thing successfully in 3 urban centers across the country, then you can take a case to the federal government. The federal government may even decide to take on this infrastructural thing as a challenge, because this is something, the JAMB is the only gateway for millions of candidates every year to get into tertiary institutions.
All right, so let's do this now.
Okay.
A correspondent were in Lagos,
okay,
Ogun State, as well as in Abuja, to have an idea of what people went through, this logistic nightmare that has happened ahead of this year's UTME. So take a look at this. We'll come back and continue our discussions with 2 gentlemen over here.
For JAMB, is business unusual in its operations, geared towards greater accountability and rewarding outcomes.
The reason why we are doing this is that we want to customize every candidate to have an email so that their PIN for registration can be safe. Even if at all on your way you were robbed or you lose your filables, then in as much as you know your details of email, which is password, then you can easily go back there and extract your PIN, and it's been customized.
For the applicants in Ogun State who spoke with STV News, their experience in the banks for their PIN leaves much to be desired.
To we students, it's a kind of tedious, but it's a very good process.
Well, I came yesterday and I'm through. I just finished the registration.
JAMB Registrar Professor Isiaq Oloyede believes the new system would take care of any observed pitfalls in due course. He, however, rules out any extension to the April 19th deadline for registration of applicants.
Whereas our agreement was that the banks will create the profiles, there are people who believe that this system, because of its accountability nature, will not give them opportunity to do what they are used to. We will not go back to that system. Let us make this system work.
On the mock examination also proposed by JAMB, the registrar says it is to give a soft landing to applicants.
We are going to use the computer, but we can make it easy for those who are not familiar with the mouse. What we have done is to create a software that you don't need to struggle with the mouse. Once you know the answer, A, B, C, D, press it.
The board has so far registered about 40% of expected applicants across the 650 accredited registration centers across the country, which, according to the registrar, means the process has recorded a huge success. From Ogun State, Olusegun Olukoga, STV News, Abeokuta.
Toby Oluwasegun is one applicant who has spent unearning hours to complete the registration process. So also is Blessing Asukwo, who complained of the rigors and challenges faced by applicants. Same goes for all these other applicants with resigned looks on their faces.
I'm here again to register for JAMB. I've been here for 4 days. So by grace of God, I hope to register today. By grace of God. And if I don't register, I won't be surprised. You understand? So basically, I just hope that JAMB can do something about this.
I registered around 9. They asked me to come back around 12 to collect my PIN. After collecting, I came to Yaba to register. And I was told to go and pay to register 700 naira. And I've been here since Friday. It's been really hectic.
I think the way they were doing it before, which you can go to any server cafe to do your JAMB registration, is okay than this. This is just wasting of time, wasting of energy, wasting of resources and all of that.
I think maybe they should increase the number of registration centers and more officials for registration.
While the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board said it has introduced the remitter mode to reduce the stress associated with the registration process, these respondents say that is not good enough.
One person will take 20 minutes, which simply means for 1 hour you can just register 3 persons. And because of this, these children are not convenient. Many are coming from far distance. So if they can give them that grace to choose the school they want, the venue they want to do it, and the only thing they will come to this place to do is capturing and templating. Then in the next 2 minutes, they are done with what they want to do. Then with that, we won't have problem with all these children.
When you put in your email, using opening your profile, it's to bring out some things you've already filled in. Also, it makes the process, that registering process at the point faster, but then the process before that is very hard. The generation of the PIN and to line up to register is very serious.
The board announced on Sunday that the introduction of the remitter mode came on the heels of the challenges faced by applicants in an attempt to acquire the e-PIN from NIPOs and at designated banks. But to these applicants, if the process is not enhanced, many applicants might end up unregistered. Funke Adesoji, STV News.